Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 dum. Dum 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 I lost it already.
Right when I come in, jeez, I was ready to bring the flavor and it's over.
Wow.
Well, guys, we have gathered here today to read some emails that we got from our listeners. We have gotten a pretty good little stash of mail that relates to our Final Fantasy VII series. So rather than just do the one or two per episode that we usually get, we decided to stash a few of them and do a very special mailbag bonus episode.
Especially since our episodes have been running over 2 hours for the series.
Most recent one is a real marathon.
I think the one before it was longer. I think.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was over 2.5 hours.
Wow.
People are demanding extra content these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's all killer, no filler.
If you noticed our...
Yeah, that's a different podcast.
That's also the name of a Sum 41 album.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, this is Square Roots. It's not all killer, no thriller. I mean, filler.
I think we might hit 20,000 downloads again this month, which is second best month ever. So that's pretty good.
That is good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So should we just dive right into the emails?
Yeah. You start.
Okay. So this one comes from listener by the name of Paul. And he says Tifa dresses like a cowgirl because she knows she's pulling it off, obviously. Now, please look at the official art and then you explain to me why she wears a belt and suspenders. What even is the point? Pick one or the other, you monster. Please explain. Also, postscript. Love to all of you. I would wear the sexy cologne, silk dress, diamond tiara, and blonde wig for your podcast. All the best.
John, you wear suspenders sometimes.
I do. I'm wearing them right now.
Your red suspenders are pretty great.
Snap.
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever worn them with a belt?
Yes. Yes. It was where the pants didn't fit me very well, and sometimes suspenders can leave a little back action going on. These ones are side suspenders, especially, so they only connect at the side. They don't connect in the back. And when I was wearing like some fancy pants that were a bit like baggy, I had to wear a belt as well. I probably could have just got away with the belt, but I like wearing suspenders. So, but normally this was a once in a lifetime thing. Normally I would not ever combine both of them. I think Tifa just is doing it for the fashion.
I never thought about the redundancy of suspenders and a belt. But I don't know. It makes sense. I've always wanted to rock a pair of suspenders, but I've always been afraid I couldn't pull it off.
I think you could, especially like they work really nicely. If you just have jeans, suspenders, and a dress shirt, that's a good like semi-casual look, but you look like fashionable casual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I admire Tifa's ability to pull it off. She is definitely pulling it off.
Final Fantasy fashion has never suffered from a lack of belts, you know?
It's true.
or suspenders, for that matter.
Yeah. So the fact that she's only wearing one of each is pretty impressive, I think.
I like how everyone's got like different models for when they're younger, except for Barrett only has a different shirt and no gun arm.
That's true. Tifa has multiple looks. She's got her current like suspenders, shirt, shorts, and then
her blue dress.
In the Nibelheim flashback, she's doing the cowboy thing, and then she's got her blue dress. Like she's got a lot going on.
Eris really hasn't. She's worn two looks, right? Eris has had her Don Corneo outfit and then her pink thing.
Oh,
didn't she have a different look when she was a little girl in that flashback?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Wait, John, are you what blue dress of Tifa's are you referencing? Is it the Don Corneo?
Well, she's got her Don Corneo, and then she's got her Nibelheim teenage flashback one.
Yeah, flashback.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot. Cloud, I've always wondered why they made Cloud's outfit purple.
Yeah, me too.
To demonstrate his fluid sexuality.
Oh.
All right. As evidenced by his date with Barrett.
Like Prince.
And his sexual encounter at the Honeybee Inn. And also the fact that I tried to get him laid by Don Corneo.
Yep, me too. So I've got a letter here from Wedge Coon, who is a friend that I know. Well, I haven't met IRL, but I've known him online for several years now. Dear Square Roots Podcast, thank you for finally starting to play one of my favorite games, Final Fantasy VII. I did, however, want to make sure you got the details right about one of my favorite characters ever, Wedge. Contrary to what some people think, side-eyeing you, John, Wedge is not the comic relief character, but is actually the guy who makes the explosives and is very, very awesome, inexplicably both cool and hot at the same time. If you take the time to talk to him at the bar, he comments he likes Tifa's cooking and that he just wants a friend. Actually, if you talk to him, he also talks about how Tifa's cooking has made him roly-poly. Jessie made the bombs, though, not Wedge. Jessie talks about how she made the bombs and they went wrong and they were too powerful and killed people, and she was feeling really upset about that. Where do you get this Wedge made the bombs business? Does that sound right to you, Jim? You're the Final Fantasy VII expert.
No, I don't. I do. You would think, because you said Jessie made the bombs, right?
Yeah.
She's like the techno person, right? The doer of the group.
Yeah.
She's hacking the doors and making the bombs.
I don't like that they've redesigned Wedge twice now for the remake. And the first one was really cute, but the second one's not as cute.
I thought it was interesting that they got the person to voice him that they did. And I know we've talked about this show as a straight white guy show, but he's voiced by Badger from Breaking Bad, who has a really unique voice, I think. I think it's a good casting decision.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Fun fact. At one point, I was the proud owner of the Wedge character trading card, and the blurb about him whining a friend is actually what's written on it in the original Japanese. I'm sorry for actualing your podcast, but as a pretty much the premier, meaning only, Final Fantasy VII Wedge superfan, I felt the need to take a moment to set the record straight, even if he is a side character who dies 10 hours into the game. Love your show. Best regards, Wedge Coon, aka Big Dude Art. He died like 6 hours into the game when I played it. 5 or 6.
That's a quick Wedge death.
Yeah, there's not a lot of... Although, I think he might be one of the longer surviving Wedges in Final Fantasies, because usually they bite it pretty fast.
Oh yeah, in Final Fantasy VI, he's barely there.
In 8, he dies super fast. In 14, he's a recurring major character who doesn't die so far. In A Realm Reborn. He might in the later expansions.
14 doesn't count as a real game.
What?
MMOs are not real games.
It's got a story. It definitely does have a story. There's crystals.
It does?
Warriors of Light. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of that changes my opinion. The MMOs are not real games.
Well,
wow, that's a hot take.
Maybe the next letter will change your opinion. Why don't you read that, Vanessa?
Okie dokie. Here I go.
It's a two-parter.
Is it?
Well, there's the long version and the short version.
Okay, here's the long version. Should I just read the short version?
Whatever you feel like.
Let's see. Here's a summary. This person loves our podcast. They love Final Fantasy VII. They know something about Aerith versus Eris. Her original Japanese name, written in Japanese characters, was intended to be a play on the English word Earth, since she is all about the planet. So Aerith would technically be a more correct translation into English. The problem is the TH sound in the English word Earth is a sound that does not exist in the Japanese language. So when they were originally trying to spell out Aerith/Earth in their alphabet, they went with erisu. When said quickly, you drop the U at the end and pronounce it eris. This is the closest representation they have to a word ending in a TH. So, in the original PS1, the English translators interpreted that last Japanese character as more of an S sound rather than the implied TH that the Japanese were going for. That's how we ended up with Eris. A lot of people that played that version got used to that name even though it has since been retranslated more accurately to Aerith, which again was meant to be a nod to the word Earth. Fun fact, Sephiroth, which is a name written in Hebrew and also ends in a TH, written in Japanese characters, is Sifirusu. But for whatever reason, it got translated into English more accurately with a TH at the end. Otherwise, we would also be debating over Sephiroth or Sephiroth. Yeah, that does not change my mind about MMOs, but it is a lot of interesting information.
Jim, the next letter is another Tifa.
I have a thought! In Final Fantasy VI, the protagonist is named Terra, which is another Earth-type name. Although I think in Japanese she's named Tina, which is not Earth referential at all.
No, and it kind of just makes her sound like someone you went to high school with.
Yeah.
Yep. It's Tina. Hey, guys.
Hey, it's Tina. I'm actually like some kind of Esper. Look at me fly around. Wow.
Yeah, Slave Crown is big mood.
Can you believe Kafka?
That guy's like, what? It's like, what is he even doing?
What?
I can't
so
even.
weird.
I can't even with that clown.
I guess I'm
He's
going to
so
fight him, but
weird.
he's now like in a pile of bodies that's all himself. Although it does look like he's been lifting, because check out the 2800 pack on that guy.
Speaking of lifting, who do you like more, Edgar or Saban? I think Edgar has a better future, but I mean, who cares about future right now? Am I right? Bring on Saban.
YOLO.
Does that mean that Terra crushes beer cans against her head and chugs them?
That would be great.
So, Jim.
Right. Yeah, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
This next one comes from our one of our OG listeners, Matthew. He says, the question isn't why Tifa is dressed like a cowboy. The bigger question to me is why aren't we all dressing like cowboys? Boots, sparkly shirts with rhinestones. Y'all, we are missing out.
I don't want to dress like a cowboy.
I have lived my entire life in two different states, and one of them being rural Kansas and the other one being Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have gone through phases of my life where I didn't straight up dress like a cowboy, but I got real close with not cowboy boots, but I did have boots, and I wore like, you know, the pearl snap shirts. I've been there.
I still think it's so neat that we've both spent a lot of time in Manhattan, Kansas.
That is neat.
I don't like cowboy boots because they have pointy toes, and I have like feet that get wider as they go towards the end, not feet that get narrower as they go towards the end. I have big, fat, flat feet, and cowboy boots would really hurt.
I don't think I've ever worn a cowboy boot, but I have worn a cowboy hat.
Remember that time you were a bartender at that bar and you were like always on the bar dancing?
I told you not to talk about when I worked at the Coyote Ugly. That's like a phase of my life that I really want to move past.
I'm just saying you wore a lot of cowboy boots then.
Those were show cowboy boots. They weren't like work the ranch cowboy boots.
Those are
they were
fashion
like
boots,
shove
John.
a $10 bill in my boot cowboy boots.
Yeah. I've only worn cowboy boots one time, and like I had to wear them because I was working a job as a farmhand, and my job was to walk through a pasture and pick out all the thistles. And I was forced to wear them because my employer was afraid that I was going to get bit by a rattlesnake.
Oh, and those help with that?
Well, they're tall enough to where if a rattlesnake strikes you, they'll strike the boot and not your leg.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
What if the snake had been in the boot?
That's a whole other problem.
Okay.
We call that the Woody.
That's not what I call the Woody.
Tifa's outfit, I will say, it's not fashion cowboy. She's doing practical cowboy. She's wearing those clothes because she's working the trails, right?
It feels like the opposite to me. It feels like she's doing like a tourist cowboy thing.
Oh,
Like she's dressing up like to make another Tiger King reference. I feel like that's half of what we do anymore. But she's like one of the workers at Doc Antle's safari place where she's all like themed up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, we know she's had the boob job.
what?
Oh, but she got a reduction. That's right.
Yeah.
You know what I watched all of yesterday?
Tiger King.
That's what it was.
Hey.
All right. Do you want me to read the next letter?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. Here's a letter from Seth. Hello, my name is Seth, and I really enjoy your podcast. I saw you covering Final Fantasy VII. I thought I'd send in this clip for you and your listeners. I do a podcast called Who's Next podcast, and one of our segments is watching movies based on video games. On that episode, I cut together every time a character said the word mother in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie, which is an insane amount. I hope you have some fun with this clip, and looking forward to some Chrono Cross. All right, I'm going to play this for you, and I'm going to get it close to the microphone, so if not, I'll just put it...
Where's Mother? You do have Mother there. We need Mother's power. Mother's mimetic legacy. Mother's legacy. She does so much for us. Find Mother. Where's Mother? Hey, where's Mother? Because he's looking for Mother. Gift from Mother? Gross. Brother's hiding Mother too? Mother has given me the life stream. Mother's mimetic legacy will go to Mother together. See, Mother? Mother is here. Mother. Give back Mother. All we want is to be with Mother. Mother will know. Where's Mother? Mother. Hey! I will not
Mother's
have you
mother.
Mother that way. You meanie. You look after Mother. Mother. A good son would have known. Mother. Mother's going to tell me. What I want, Cloud, is to sail the darkness of the cosmos with this planet as my vessel, just as my mother did long ago. Mother.
Again? Why is everyone calling me their mother lately?
Mother?
That was beautiful.
Where'd you find that? Is that a...
That's something that
It's
Seth
from
made.
the guy.
Yeah.
He said in the
he
letter.
did. I see it as an attachment. Sorry, Sam.
He's looking forward to some Chrono Cross episodes this year, which this year or next year we'll probably get to Chrono Cross.
I feel like this year of sequels is, we're in RPG land, so that's like so many games that we could play. We have the rest of the year pretty much figured out.
Well, we have one more vote.
Oh, we do have one more vote. That's a good point. We should have put Chrono Cross in this one.
Yeah. Why didn't
But
you?
I don't know. We got a lot of good ones in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a reminder, Chrono Cross already won a vote, but then you took a break, and we were waiting for you to come back to play it, and then you refused to play it.
Yeah.
Oh, we had some people get real mad about that.
Yeah, so we don't want to relive that.
Yeah, so let's...
I think we should either do it or not do it.
I think we'll do it. We'll definitely do it.
We'll definitely do it.
Yeah, maybe not this year. We'll try to make it a 2021 game.
For sure.
Along with Nier, that Matthew will not play.
I really want to play Nier.
It's weird. The version that we're going to get is one that didn't come out in North America.
Yeah, and I was watching just gameplay videos of it today because I had never heard of it. Mm-hmm. But it looks great.
Yeah, and it's that one's interesting because it like swaps between sort of adventure game and overhead Zelda, and then like Bayonetta style fighting, and it like keeps changing. Like it goes to a text adventure at some points.
Yeah, it looked really neat.
Yeah. It's a very interesting game that, but it is one of those ones that like Nier Automata requires you to play through a couple of times to really get the whole story.
Yeah. It's got like 4 or 5 endings to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
All right, next letter. This person signs their letter,
I think
Jun.
isn't it time for Vanessa to read one?
Is it time for me to read one?
Yeah.
No. Is it?
No. Is it?
I don't think I've read one since we started.
Oh, no, you
Yeah.
did 2 Tifa ones.
I did the
Oh, I
Eris
did.
one.
All right. Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Here's a letter from Jun Jun. It's very long. Here we go. If they like the show, that's great. Let's see. They want to know about our thoughts on the Final Fantasy VII Remake. What are your thoughts on it so far?
Well, okay, but read what they said, because this gets important about the battle system.
Okay, here I go. I want to know everybody's thoughts on what we've seen and or played so far. At first, I was really hesitant about the new battle system when I played the demo. I actually enjoyed it a lot, almost like Kingdom Hearts on steroids. Am I right?
See?
You wanted me to read that just so you could yell, see?
Hashtag John was right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. The main concern I have at this point is the fact that they're changing minor story elements, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Admittedly, I originally wanted the exact same game as the original with a fresh coat of paint, but I think I've come around.
I felt the same way. I felt a little alienated at first because I did want exactly the same one, just with sweet new graphics and more like voiceover stuff. But I did like the updates to the combat system. It felt a little more interactive, and but like it felt a little more difficult than I expected. Maybe I'm just not good at it yet, but I thought it was hard.
Well, it's kind of doing that Final Fantasy 13 thing of you have to wear down someone to a stagger. Like you reduce their guard first, and then you can do damage. And I don't know. I'm waiting because we're going to be playing it for the podcast, right? Like this isn't a surprise. We will be
next month,
playing it in a couple of weeks. So I'm just holding off until then. I will hold my comment. Like I think I've talked enough about how my general problem is that I just don't like Nomura games, and if he is in control of Final Fantasy VII, it becomes more like a Nomura game. But whatever, I'll give it a shot. Maybe it'll be fun. And if I don't like it, they haven't deleted the original off my hard drive yet.
I ain't played it. This letter continues. Second random thought I have is about Johnny, because I just listened to the episode where you mentioned him. It seemed like you guys didn't bump into him until Costa del Sol.
No, Vanessa met me in October.
Yeah, I met him in October. I've known him for several years before that. I would say that Johnny is the one who I was closest to before starting the podcast, although I was aware of Jim and Matt insofar as they existed. But I don't feel like I can really point to like a special relationship that I had with them before we started. Of course, now we all share the special relationship of being in a really cool band together.
Yeah.
Let's see. You can bump into Johnny in Sector 7 and in Wall Market. There was a bit of confusion as to his backstory. The English translation makes it sound like he is a childhood friend of Cloud's, like you guys assumed. But he's actually a guy who lived in Midgar and knew Tifa, and he only knew about Cloud by talking to her. The bad translation made it a little confusing. Just a fun fact for everyone.
I love fun facts.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And in fact, it took me a minute to remember who Johnny was.
He's right here, Jim.
Not that Johnny.
He's the one at the hotel in Costa del Sol.
Yeah, that guy.
Would you say that when you heard this letter, you asked yourself, who's Johnny?
Who's Johnny?
Who's Johnny?
He has another thought. He says that there are 15 Fort Condor battles, not 3 or 4.
Oh, well.
Oh. Is that true?
I haven't been back yet. I should probably do some more of those, huh?
I don't remember there being. You don't have to. Would you get anything if you do all of them?
I know you want to do
definitely
the one where you get Phoenix, because that's
that's like a required one. That's a huge materia. It's side quest. What's the point of doing all the other ones?
A big, fat, huge materia.
Yes, the hugest materia.
Big,
I had
fat, huge materia.
I had no idea you could do that. You could do, or that anybody would want to do that many Fort Condor battles. What a gill suck that is.
And it's not fun, which is my main issue.
It's super slow and just like takes up a lot of your money.
But I'll give it another go. Sure, why not?
Is there more to this letter?
Now it's over. Now time for email from Ron.
Okay, Ron, I got you. All right, Ron says, "Hello, people. I'm glad you're doing this game. I know I mentioned the Barrett situation on the Facebook group, so I won't fold heavy into that. This was a reference to a post he did about Barrett's voice acting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The materia farming in this game is some of my favorite magical mechanics in any of the Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy 12 was a close second. Today's what the color coordination and the variety of materia is superb. Where do you rank it, and what's good and bad about it? How do you guys feel about the materia system?
I really like it. I've been trying to sort of strategize more. Like, when Eris was in my party, I gave her all the summons because those super boost your magic power. So that I could make her like really powerful for just Fyra and Blizzaga and all that. Or Fire 2 and Fire 3. And also giving Cloud like the combo of counter and, what was the other one? Not Death Blow. Counter. There's another one that's really good for that.
Like Double Cut?
Double Cut's amazing for that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Cover. That's right.
Oh, Cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Because then if you have counter and cover at the same time, you end up doing like Cloud or whoever you give it to ends up doing 3 or 4 attacks per round because you're getting attacked. And
nice.
if you put double cut onto that as well, you'll be really doing a ton of attacks per turn. And yeah, I do like that you can sort of make every character whatever class or build you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like how easily broken it is. A lot like Final Fantasy VI, where you could, adjust the accessories and stuff to really have fun. What about you two?
I like the materia system, and I for all the reasons that you stated, and I also like the idea that there are weapons and accessories that will alter the way that they level or the pace at which they level. So, like, if you find a good like triple growth weapon, you can stack that person up with a bunch of materia and just level it up super, super, super quick, and then cycle it out and do the same thing.
Vanessa?
I didn't like it at first. I think I didn't fully understand the leveling system for the materia. I do think it's weird how it births a new materia once you've leveled it up all the way. Like, how does that even work? And
The monsters
I
get
feel
it
like,
pregnant.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's it. I do feel like it takes away from what's special about each character and makes it maybe a little less strategic. But more flexibility, so I don't know. Materia, it's all right. It's not my favorite system. I think
right.
I'd rather have a built-in mage or wizard and whatever.
Matthew's answer is yes.
What was the question?
To what? Does he like the materia system? I guess, or any thoughts? He says yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Matthew couldn't be here today. In case you've been waiting for him to say something.
But he did just send a message saying the answer to the current letter is yes.
Oh, okay.
Also, are you working for the Golden Chocobo? Yeah, that's the next thing. I'm probably the two, because there's a lot of side stuff you can really sink time into in Final Fantasy VII, which is neat. I think this playthrough I'm going to do Getting Great Gospel and do the Gold Chocobo.
Your girl already got one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
I named it Bowie.
Ooh.
I rode it to victory.
I think the Golden Chocobo thing, if I wasn't playing it on 3x speed, it would have been a real drag, but
Yeah, and I did use a guide to figure out how to breed them, because if you
Yeah, me
just try
too.
to do it randomly, it will take forever and it might not even happen.
I also used a guide when I did it back in 1997.
How'd you get a guide in 1997?
Well, facts existed. Like, you could go on the internet, but
but you had to like close your game and
I bought a strategy guide.
Ooh, a book?
Mm-hmm. I wish I still had it. I don't think I do.
I wish I still had all my like strategy guides I used to have back in the day. I definitely had the Final Fantasy VII one and the 8 one, I think.
You guys want to open a vintage strategy guide store?
No.
Okay.
I'll open a vintage strategy guide museum
Oh.
because they're to be admired, not purchased.
Jim's The Art of the Strategy Guide exhibit.
I have a Soul Blade strategy guide, and I have a Resident Evil strategy guide here.
Whoa.
But that's it.
Let's see. Ron also asked us, let's see. He says he used to be like John and not understand the problem with Cloud, but after watching a Final Fantasy Machina Abridged series that Team 4 did, he understands the turmoil that came with the story. I've never seen that series, and I also mostly agree with John about Cloud.
But I think that I'm getting a better sense now of what happened. It's not like I do know, like, I'm not going to pretend I don't know, and spoilers for anyone who wants this to be kept a secret, that he has Zack's memories. And I think we're about to find this out pretty soon, right? Next episode or two?
Yes.
Yeah. That he has Zack's memories, and that I totally forgot about the part that Sephiroth is controlling him. That part was a surprise.
Yeah, I will say that like the game does a good job of giving Cloud an arc and making him like actually by the end of the game he's a good legit good character, but then they totally undo all of it in Advent Children and make him a moody sad boy, and it sucks.
I think you can just sort of headcanon away Advent Children, right? Like, that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I could. I don't want to, but
because the end, like, from what I remember of the end of Final Fantasy VII, it's like humans are gone, right?
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah, which seems like a good ending.
Yeah, and I actually went down a rabbit hole with this where I was like, because it's debatable as to like whether humanity's extinct or not.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's how they wrote it, was that humanity's extinct in like 400 or 500 years or whatever.
Yeah. And then Nomura is like, oh, well, now that Sakaguchi's gone, I can rewrite it so that it's garbage.
Yeah. Basically, like, if Final Fantasy VII Advent Children was like, it's like a weaker version of the game plot.
You know, I'll probably find out that it wasn't him at all that wrote that movie, which is, you know, that's definitely a possibility, that I'm assigning blame for anything I don't like to Nomura. But I seriously only watched the first half hour of the movie, and I thought it was so boring and bad. Like, not only does it doesn't acknowledge the ending of Final Fantasy VII, which is really weird, but it just was like fan service. Like, that's all it was. It didn't have anything interesting to say.
It's weird. The ending of Final Fantasy VII is super vague.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get to it, but like, there's a big kind of dramatic scene that just stops. There's no real resolution to it other than the post-credit scene where it's implied that everybody's dead. So, like, you don't see any, like, after the final battle, none of the characters get any kind of resolution. It shows them all struggling against what's happening with the meteor falling, and then it stops.
Yeah. I think they're all dead.
That's it. Yeah.
There's, have you ever seen the television show Red Dwarf?
No. Is that the raunchy sci-fi show?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of a different one?
Outside,
no kind of atmosphere. All alone. More or less. Anyway,
Red Dwarf is okay because the guy with the H on his forehead is kind of hot, but it doesn't really allow him to be sexy.
No, except when he's Ace Rimmer.
Ace Rimmer.
So, Red Dwarf, I think they kind of thought that the series was over for season 6. So they have a finale to it. So basically, like the show's this kind of like semi-serious, but mostly comedic sci-fi show about people trapped on a spaceship. And, it's a million years after humanity's probably dead. They're in the middle of nowhere. The ship's been traveling for a million years. So they are far, far from Earth. And, in the end, they figure out a way of skipping across time and space, and they can go anywhere they want. And then they meet themselves from the future, and they're just the worst, like having dinner with the Hitlers. And they're like, oh, it's fine as long as you don't talk about politics. And, they're just like opulent, awful people. And so they go back, in their own timeline, kill themselves and destroy the time machine to stop the future versions of them from existing. And I thought that was a really good ending to the show, but they like just ignored it and went on with the show afterwards. And it's like, well, you can enjoy that ending if you want. You can choose to be like, no, okay, the show ended here. It had an ending. It was a really good ending, and everything that came after it was kind of bad anyways. So just stop watching there. That is, and I think that might be the same thing for Final Fantasy VII, that you don't have to watch Advent Children if you don't want to. Although I do want to for the podcast to make fun of it.
I do. I'm very much looking forward to making fun of that game.
So what was Ron's question again?
Just that he understands your qualms with Cloud, but that he feels a little bit differently about it now that he saw this thing. So maybe I'll check that out. And he also finishes with, I hope all y'all doing well in this crisis. I think about you guys, and thank you for putting out this content that I cherish. Bear hugs to all.
He is like a foot taller than me. I think I sent Jim a picture of him like leaning on my head.
Oh, he did.
Thanks,
Ron. Ron has been listening for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's a consistently good presence in the Facebook group, and I think he's great.
Ron is great. Next question. So, this is me reading.
This is bull. Jim and I have to read these essays, and you get this, what,
know,
1,
John
2,
gets
3,
these,
4,
like, little bits.
5 sentence emails. You can read this one, and you can read the next one. How about that?
I'll do that. Hey all, Final Fantasy VII is great and all, and Ketchi is the best character, but I wanted to say that I'm glad to hear Matt acknowledges that Chain of Memories is the best Kingdom Hearts. That's all, Abe. I haven't played it yet, but I am always willing. I don't like card mechanics in battle systems.
Oh, me neither. It's bad.
I tried it, and I thought it was bad.
I also thought it was bad. I didn't really give myself a lot of time to like figure out the card mechanics, but outside of that, the level design is also bad, I thought.
I'll have to see. So is there no action combat? It's all like cards and stuff?
I mean, it's like card action. So like imagine a Kingdom Hearts battle, but like every time you want to like swing your Keyblade, you have to play that card. I think, if I remember it right. And there's like cards for the spells. Yeah, it's not. So you can like chain together card actions.
But it's also sort of random what cards you draw.
Yeah,
it's a card game. Y'all, a couple of nights, not in a row, but just like this week, I've had dreams that feature a member of the Avengers. And I've been wondering why I've been thinking about it so much. I just realized that my microphone that I talk into is propped up on my Monopoly Avengers edition. And I just spend the whole podcast staring at their faces, but it never quite registered.
So are they like smoochy dreams?
No.
Okay.
I don't know why I was just so shocked that you would ask me such a question. No, it was not a smoochy dream. Captain America was not there.
Okay.
And neither was Thanos.
Oh. What about Professor Hulk?
I wish. Unfortunately, this box has Hulk on it and not Mark Ruffalo.
So the only dream I've ever had about a celebrity was one time I was making out with Bam Bam Bigelow in a space station, and I was so mad when I woke up. So mad.
Man, I dream about celebrities all the time.
Oh.
The worst was probably a celebrity poker era Dave Foley.
Oh, no, I dream about them, but like smoochy dreams with a celebrity. That was the
Dave
only one.
Foley. He was a real mainstay on World Series of Poker.
He was like the host or something.
Do you think, like, if you starred in a Pixar movie, do you think you're set for life?
I don't know. I think some of those movies pay scale, essentially, because people so want to be involved in them.
Oh.
I would imagine, too, that there's maybe, like, a statute of limitations on residuals.
I don't think so. I feel like
It would.
I bet
it would depend on how you get that contract negotiated.
if Dave Foley is still getting sweet, sweet Bugs Life money, let us know.
Yeah, show us that contract.
He looked so
I
dead.
wonder how the ride things work, too. You know, like, because he's in the ride, or not a ride, it's like a 3D movie at Disneyland and Disney World.
Right.
I wonder if you get residuals from that.
I bet all of that is negotiated in contract as well.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a ride in Disney World called, like, Monster Escape or something like that, and the pre-show video featured Jeffrey Jones. The ride is gone,
ew.
as is the video.
Do you know, the first time I recognized that a presenter wasn't enjoying himself, other than World Series of Poker, where it was very, very obvious, was the later seasons of America's Funniest Home Videos where Bob Saget looked like he wanted to die.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read this next letter because I'm a nice person. And I got harangue too. Okay. Jared writes, "Howdy, gang. I'm really enjoying playing Final Fantasy VII and listening to the podcast. I've tried to play this game on multiple occasions in the past. I would always get bored or frustrated with it and end up quitting. Most of the time, I just like to listen to you guys and lady play the games, but I determined to play this one. I just have a random question. Just solely looking at Final Fantasy VII through 10, how would you rank these games? Also, who is your favorite character in each? Just curious, and I hope this makes it into the Mailbag podcast. Love the show, and thanks for all the entertainment."
So my rankings, bottom to top, 7 through 10, 8, 7, 10, 9. So 9 would be top.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I love Final Fantasy VII. It's definitely the one I have the most nostalgia for. But, like, actually playing the games, 9, and then 10, and then 7, and then 8. Yeah.
Okay, my ranking would be, let's see, bottom to top, 8, 7, 10, 9, 6.
Well, he didn't put 6 in there.
6.
Oh, okay. Well, my ranking from bottom to top would be 8 for sure. And guys, the mini games are so bad in 7. They're so bad, and they require you to play them, and they just take away from otherwise a really interesting game. I'm going to have to put 7 after, I think.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah, that's what I did.
Then 10 and 9, which are pretty close to each other because I think they both, see, I love 7. I love it. I think it's so gorgeous and interesting. I love the super weird story. I love the characters. I love the art. And those mini games are so bad.
I mean, we're ranking a chunk of good things here.
And 8.
And 8.
And 8.
Good
games and also 8.
It takes away from anything to be third or second on this list. What do y'all think of that Final Fantasy 13?
I like parts of it a lot. I think actually the characters are pretty good. It's got a very female heavy cast, which is good. I like Saz. I like I like the look of the design of the characters is pretty fun. I like the combat. But the first 20 hours or 25 hours sucks.
It's very on rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like Hope?
You know, a lot of people say that Hope is actually a good character, but I just remember hating him the first time through. But I'm open to giving his character another shot, maybe with my friend Vanessa, helping me see things from his perspective. What about you?
Me?
Yeah, do you like Hope?
Not really.
Jim.
But I guess now I have to guide you to liking him, so I better learn to.
Jim, both questions. What do you think of 13, and do you like Hope?
I've only played 13 for like 2 or 3 hours before I gave up. So I don't really know who Hope is or have any memory of him if he's in the first few hours of that game.
Oh, he is.
Don't remember.
Yeah. I remember like the game right before the game opens up and becomes less linear. It has an amazing boss fight, and that sort of helped a lot. And like I was telling Jim, the summons where it's like they're transformers and they turn into different things for you to ride is really cool.
It has a cool sort of like Frozen vibe to it with the whole sibling thing.
And what was the other thing? Oh, and they wanted us to say our favorite character from 7 through 10. And Vanessa will also include 6, I guess.
Okay.
Vanessa.
Celeste. Oh, wait. From all of them?
From 6.
Favorite character in each.
Yeah.
Okay. Celeste. Kate Sith. The woman with the whip.
Quistis.
Queen. Where am I at now?
10.
That was okay. 10. Lulu.
Jim.
Let's see. I'm going to start with 7. So I'm going to go Sid, Irvine, Steiner, and then Lulu.
Irvine, Steiner. Okay. I'm going to say, I like Ket Shi a lot more this time now that I have a sense of who and what he is. Because the robot stuff and the second Ket Shi has a dumb accent really entertains me. But I'm going to say, Eris. And then, Edea, the sorceress, is really a fun villain / not villain. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Beatrix. And,
Beatrix. I was only thinking party members, but Beatrix is a great character.
Yeah. And, Kimari.
Okay.
Nice. We did it.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's also a follow-up there, right?
Oh, is there?
Oh, no, wait. We ranked them and did our favorite character.
Yeah. Now, I think it's Vanessa's time to read Jordan's email.
Okay, 1 second here. I'm just going to send a message to Matt and see if he'll join in with his favorite characters, because he loves Rankin.
He does. He likes Rankin and Bass.
Characters
Get
from
it?
FF9.
It's like they did those stop motion Christmas specials.
What is it? 9, 10.
7, 8, 9, 10.
7 and 8. Why not 12?
Because it's
Why
not.
don't you want to hear about?
Because it's not on this list.
Oh, okay. Well, we played it. I'm Captain Bosch. Okay, I'm going to read this letter from Jeffrey. I've been a listener apron recommendation for your Super Mario RPG series.
What?
I'm sorry, this says upon recommendation, not apron recommendation.
Try that again.
That makes more sense.
Take 2.
I've been a listener upon recommendation for your Super Mario RPG series. I'm listening and playing along with your Final Fantasy VII playthrough and scratching that RPG itch while I'm isolated inside my prison of a house. Aren't we all? Something I've noticed through my playthrough intrigued me. I know most of the big plot beats in the game already through cultural osmosis and various walkthroughs. I'm relatively young. I'm younger than the game. Oh, it's a baby! Hello, baby. Even though I kind of know a lot of the big plot points, I still get emotionally attached to the story, even though it's my first big playthrough. For instance, when Sephiroth was losing his material marbles in the Shinra Mansion, I felt a sense of dread. I chalk it up to the quality of the story and look forward to having everything crash down on me later. Is there an instance or instances y'all have had where you knew ahead about or got spoiled about a game, but still enjoyed the journey? Thanks, Jeffrey. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do me thinking. I may have had BioShock spoiled for me. I certainly had Portal spoiled for me in that there was that phrase that everyone was saying all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So I knew about that. Movie-wise, I think that someone did tell me that Bruce Willis was dead, but I didn't quite register it. So when I was watching the film, it's like it didn't follow for me. I just put that out of my head. Those are the ones that I can think of the most. And I do think that before I played Final Fantasy VII, I knew about the twist that shall not be named. And I don't know how I knew about that. So yeah, quite a few. How about you, Jim?
Yeah, I also had BioShock spoiled, but I still had a good time playing the game anyway. And honestly, I think the twist, while like I think the idea behind the twist is more interesting than the twist itself in that game. And I think a lot of the other characters that you meet are more interesting than the twist.
Yeah. I think that what I liked about the twist insofar as the particular phrase that's used is it really kind of talks about gaming in general and like following a tutorial and things like that.
That's what I liked about it too, is that it was a good commentary on like the just like the nature of video games. Mm-hmm. And like that's something I still appreciate about it. I actually recently replayed BioShock like a month ago, and still found myself really admiring that twist for that reason.
It may have been more effective if it had allowed the player not to follow along that path, like if it wasn't so linear. I think Prey does some things like that, where it's like you get a message and it's like, please come meet me in this place, and you can totally ignore it and kind of like just circumvent a whole scheme that someone has put together, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. So yeah, that's probably the biggest one. John, what about you?
Well, for this game, I went on the internet. I forget I had some question or something on, and there's an IRC group for Final Fantasy VII, or like IRC channel for Final Fantasy. I went on there and someone was just spamming in the channel, Eris dies, Eris dies, Eris dies. So I was like, oh. So the internet's always been bad. But that happens, halfway through the game, right? So it's not the end of the world. It was just a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
When I was playing Spider-Man and I was streaming it, someone came into my stream of me playing Spider-Man and says that spoiler for the 2018 Spider-Man game. So skip ahead to 30 seconds. Aunt May dies and because Peter can't save her. I was like, okay. Like, that didn't really change anything. It was just more annoyed that someone just came into my stream to tell me how the game ends.
That's so weird.
That is weird.
Yeah.
What's with people?
I think there's a lot of angry teenagers. Although, I assume it's a teenager, but it might be a grown-up.
I think I told you guys about the streamer I was watching who was trying to find all 900 Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild without using a guide. And he was at 899 and someone sent him like a donation so it would read it aloud with the text robot telling him where the last seed was.
Ugh, why are people like that?
I don't know.
Let's see. I've tried to avoid spoilers, but then again, like, there's some stuff I care about, some stuff I don't care about. I think I might have had the ending to Lost spoiled for me, but it didn't. Also, whoever spoiled it for me didn't understand the ending to Lost. So it really didn't hurt it.
I've been thinking about that show a lot recently. I guess because I'm playing so much Animal Crossing, which takes place on a deserted island. Or maybe because we're all socially isolated and it's like being trapped on an island. But yeah, the ending kind of sucks, but not as much as maybe I initially thought it did.
Well, because they told me they were dead the whole time, which is not true.
That's not true.
That is not they fundamentally misunderstood what happened in the show.
Yeah, that is not what happens on the show.
But that is a very common interpretation of the ending. A lot of people think that's how the show ended.
Okay.
No, the show specifically states when each character died and then what happened after.
Right. I mean, there are some scenes where they are already dead, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. Do you want to, Vanessa, do you want to give Matt's answer to the previous question?
Yes, Matt has returned with his list, so here we go. In Final Fantasy VII, he chooses Cloud and Sephi, plus Vincent. In Final Fantasy VIII, sorry, I barely remember them, but I do love Leon when he shows up in Kingdom Hearts, so him. Final Fantasy IX, Vivi, of course. Queen Braun is pretty great, and Beatrix is awesome, but Kuja takes the cake. Final Fantasy X, he chooses Tidus, Yuna, Lulu, Oron, and of course, Jecht. Also, he says, do we count Sin? Love me a whale.
Leon?
Yeah, Leon.
Leon. That's in Final Fantasy canon, his name is Squall.
Yep.
Why is he named Leon in
His
Kingdom
last
Hearts?
name is Leon Hart.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
He had a code name, I guess.
Sure. I still don't understand what those Final Fantasy people are doing in Kingdom Hearts.
Well, neither does Kingdom Hearts, which is why there are none of them in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Apparently that
really?
DLC does have them in for a second, right? In that terrible DLC
it
that's
makes
just...
reference to The World Ends With You.
Oh. Huh. I'm pretty sure Squall shows up for a second, but I could be wrong.
Maybe he does. I haven't finished it all the way, but I know that the big theory about the next installment of Kingdom Hearts is that it is going to be super duper Final Fantasy heavy.
Is that good? Do you think that it should, or should it?
I think Kingdom Hearts worked well when it balanced the two.
Okay.
But I think that, like, to be honest, I think that it's like when it leans towards Final Fantasy stuff is when the worst parts of Nomura come out.
Right.
And I think that's bad.
Did Mandy Moore play Eris in Kingdom Hearts? Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember her being in Kingdom Hearts.
She wasn't in there a lot. She was in there in the first time you get to Traverse Town and you're like trying to find Donald you're about to meet Donald and Goofy for the first time and you're going through different parts of Traverse Town at different times. Mm-hmm. She's in the hotel.
Do you think if she does come back for the next game, it'll be like 40-year-old chain smoker Mandy Moore? Like, hey, everybody.
Is she a 40-year-old chain smoker now?
I just assume so.
She's the voice of Rapunzel, y'all.
Yeah, and she's in that This Is Us show. I'm assuming she's just as wholesome now as she was then.
Well, maybe, things take a swing for the worse this year.
Maybe she's having a tough year.
Yep. Who isn't?
Everyone's having a tough year.
Mm-hmm.
We have one more email.
We do. Let me find it. This one comes from Jamie. And he says, quick Final Fantasy VII anecdote for the mailbag. He says, hey guys, funny story. After picking up the second enemy skill materia fairly early in the game, I braved a battle with a giant Midgar Zalem serpent near the Mithril mines, so I could learn the beta skill for both copies of the materia. My party was between levels 20 to 23-ish. Although one character died and the other two were beaten within an inch of their lives, the battle was won and I acquired the beta enemy skill for both enemy skill materias. Upon returning to the world map, I was in no rush to go anywhere since I was basking in the glory of my victory, only to discover to my absolute horror that the Midgar Zalem reappears in the water moments later, and I was forced into another battle, this time with a seriously crippled party. My desperation was palpable as I held the shoulder buttons for dear life trying to escape. Thankfully, I was eventually able to run from the battle with at least a shred of dignity intact. I learned a powerful lesson that day. Love the show.
Now, this happened to me while Jim was watching, where
It definitely did, and I was super impressed because I think I was egging you on. I was like, fight the snake, fight the snake, fight the snake, and you did. And like, I was kind of secretly hoping you'd get party wiped like I did. But no, you beat it. You beat it. You expertly navigated the battle, and then, but you encountered the snake like in the middle of the marsh, and you didn't have time to leave it before you had to fight it again.
Well, I didn't I think I did the same thing as him, is that I wasn't like rushing to get out of there because I didn't think that the game would respawn it instantly, which it does. So yes, I definitely feel your pain. I'm going to go back and try to get beta from him. Although, given who I am, I'm probably going to get alpha instead. Get it? Because I'm an alpha. Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
Beta cucks.
But you're not an alpha.
Darn it.
But we don't want you to be.
Okay.
Those guys suck.
Yeah, they do.
I don't want a Chad. I want a beta dad. I don't know why I specified dad. It just is what rhymes, I guess.
That should be your next Gillette. You could write that song for Gillette so she can have a comeback after her one-hit wonder that we discussed last time.
Once again, I thought you were talking about the razors.
So was I.
Gillette for your beta cuck dad.
Gillette, the best a beta can get.
I think the best a cuck can get is better.
The best a cuck can get. Well, alphas are chafing with their straight razors.
Exactly.
So, or just like a jagged tin can. So
or like a big...
only betas use razors.
Bowie, or some kind of big knife like Crocodile Dundee's.
Oh, yeah. That's what they're shaving with.
Yeah, big Crocodile Dundee knife.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's it. That's all this. Those are all the letters from the mailbag. We've emptied the bag.
It's true. We have emptied the bag. There was one more, and it's from Stu, and it's not really related. Can I read it anyways, just for funsies?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because we love Stu. We really do love Stu. Stewie Stu. We all love Stu. Yeah! I wrote that song myself.
Is it about Stu?
It's about Stu.
Okay.
Hi, Scoots. Yes, Sailor Venus did in fact fight crime under the name Sailor V before joining the Sailor Senshi. There is a manga released before Sailor Moon called Codename Sailor V, where Minako takes on evil pop stars and the Dark Agency as the Soldier of Justice before she later joined Sailor Moon's team as the Soldier of Love. Fun fact, she hates cops. Also,
that is a fun fact.
Y'all are the reason I got back into video games, so thanks for the shout out. I wouldn't be playing weird imported giant robotic tactics games on my Switch without the podcast.
Thanks, Stu.
In the name of love, Stu, make up.
We're not saying last names, John. Thanks,
Thank
Stu. That's
you,
very
Stu.
nice. And that was a fun fact.
It was. I love fun facts. I'm going to say it. I'll keep saying it.
I said it once, I'll say it 100 times.
Just give me them. Little piece of the trivia about things and places. Love it.
Fun facts never stop saying.
All right, friends. I think we're done.
All right. Yep, we have officially emptied the mailbag, so that's it for this very special mailbag episode of Square Roots. Until next time, I'm Jim Banks.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa.
Right. 1, 2, 3, bye.
Bye.
Dave Foley. What?
Yeah.
The guy from Kids in the Hall?
Yeah. Wait.
John knows who Dave Foley
No,
is.
but
Why is he acting so, like,
How did
confused?
that get?
I don't know.
I don't know how that suddenly got. Where did Dave Foley come from?
I don't know. My subconscious?
Oh, wait. Oh, you've had.
Vanessa mentioned having dreams about him.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't hear that. I must have been tuning out, thinking about my space dreams.
Yeah. You're thinking about Bam Bam Bigelow.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking about sitting on the bleachers with chubby Dave Foley. That's fine.
Not young, vibrant Dave Foley.
No.
Aw.
Like dad bod, sort of bitter celebrity poker Dave Foley.
Post-divorce Dave Foley.
Post-divorce, post-news radio Dave Foley.
So postal era Dave Foley.
Yeah, he's looking great these days.
That's good.